Hi, my name is Meghan Heritage. I own a residential real estate brokerage called Blue West in Grand Haven. If you want to come to the beach, I can help you do it. I also run a women's event called the Be Event. It's a goal setting and conscious empowerment movement every fall along the lakeshore too. But tonight, I'm just your friend Meghan, here to do some hard things. So I can't see me. I have these voices inside of my head that tell me things that keep me humble, but they also keep me small. And tonight, I want to talk to you really about three things. I want to talk to you about vaginas. I want to talk to you about death. And I want to talk to you about having vomit in my hair. Yeah, I'm kind of a mess, but my husband's here tonight, and when he walks out holding my hand, that will be enough. So I will be all right. So I've been working since I was 15, and it's funny, I think I was actually 14 and I lied on my first job application. I really think that's a true thing because I really wanted to work at Rally's Hamburgers. It was a big deal. It may or may not have also been about a boy, but I'm gonna plead the fifth on that one. So they hired me as a burger flipper, but then I very quickly got moved to the window, which was a problem because my parents didn't really know I had a job. And so their friends were coming through, and then they were saying, wow, your daughter's like amazing on the burger window there at Rally's. And then it's super funny tonight coming to Wealthy Street because I put myself through graduate school waiting tables at the Chop House. And I used to teach all day alternative ed and then put on my tuxedo and go to the Chop House where I couldn't afford the food. So then I would get out of work at like 11:30 at night, and then in my Saab convertible, I would drive in my tuxedo down to Sandman's Ribs, and I would get myself a dinner that I could afford. And so then I would sit Indian style at my boyfriend's house, who's now my husband, in my tuxedo and eat my ribs. So that's how we got here. In case anybody's like floundering, that's how it actually completely and totally broke down. But I've been a pin jumper at a bowling alley. I've worked on a putt-putt golf course. I've been a counselor. You name it, in one way or another, I've done it. And it's really because work is my fix, right? So I use work to make myself feel valuable, and I also use it to add value to other people. But I've also noticed that work is a procrastination tool for me. And so now, because I've amassed the things that I thought were so important to me, the stuff, right? I've noticed that I use work when the voices in my head start telling me to do scary things, God calling things that are bigger than maybe selling real estate. So I really, really like some OPP. It's my thing, other people's problems. And real estate is the perfect, you guys thought I was going someplace else with that, right? Because I said the word vagina earlier. Some of you have very dirty minds. Anyway, so I like OPP, and real estate's perfect for that because real estate, when done correctly, doesn't have anything to do with houses, right? You're solving other people's problems. So in the last 10 years or so that I've been doing this, I've done so many things where we're in crisis. Often we're in crisis in real estate. So I've sat across the table from clients who have said things, holding their hands like, I know my husband is cheating on me. He doesn't know that I know. Can you tell me what my house is worth? Because I don't know if I can afford to leave him. I've been in spaces where a man with a marriage of 50 years is saying, my wife has dementia and I don't think I can keep her safe here anymore. So that's a perfect spot for me to walk in with my strong real estate voice and start to solve problems. I'm really, really good in that space with OPP. I am a complete and total badass at my job. Like, I own it, I know it, I've turned enough transactions at this point, I've helped enough people, I know real estate. It's the problem when the voices start to come in and say things like, you should really write a book about that, or you should share your own voice, your own thoughts, your own stuff, where I get completely and totally shut down. When I first recognized that I couldn't see myself non-real estate Meghan was when my body failed me. So I'd been married for some time, and my husband and I had been trying to have a baby, and it wasn't working. And so we went to an infertility specialist who right away confirmed that there was nothing wrong with his swimmers and that I was in fact the problem. But we didn't know what my problem was exactly. So immediately I started to rent a house in Crazy Town and told myself that he was most certainly going to leave me because we made a deal. We made a deal that we were going to have kids. And I was not enough, and my body was broken. So the infertility specialist, his recommendation was that we start to chart my basal body temperature. And so that meant that I had to wake up at the exact same time every day, and they wanted that to be relatively early in the morning and consistent. So we had our chart, and we had talked about it, and we were all excited. And we put everything, next to the bed because we had a plan now, and my husband and I are good when we have a plan. We do better with a plan. And so 5:30 in the morning, the alarm goes off, and I pop the thermometer into my mouth, and out of the darkness I hear, "That goes in your vagina." I said, "No, it goes in my mouth." And he said, "No, it goes in your vagina." I said, "It doesn't go in my vagina, it goes in my mouth." So it's like a weird conversation to have at 5:30 in the morning, but it's gonna get weirder. So he responds to me that absolutely it goes in my vagina because he has a close friend whose wife is also struggling with infertility, and she puts her thermometer in her vagina. And my response to that is, how do you know this? Like, you guys are just out fly fishing one night, and you're like, "Hey, so-and-so puts her thermometer in her vagina," So we go back and forth with this. But it's like a real thing, right? Because we don't want to screw this up because we've been to the infertility specialist. Of course, right, I'm a real estate agent. I have no insurance, so we're trying to sort this whole thing. And, I have insurance, but it wasn't covering this jam, right? I don't want you to think, it's okay, we're okay at Lewis Properties. We're not going under. John's like, "We have no insurance, what's going on?" Anyway, so we have this conversation back and forth about the vagina monologue here, and his response is, "What we should do? We should call my mom, because she's a nurse." And I'm like, "You want me to call my mother-in-law, who probably wakes up at like 9:30, right? At 5:30 in the morning, and ask her if I should I should put a thermometer inside my vagina?" And so I'm like, "Yeah, that's a hard no." And so the very first day that's it, right? It's over. We have no basal body temperature. We failed, and here we are. Which then starts to run the clock in my mind, like, we can't do this, right? Like, I can't even figure out whether the thermometer goes in my mouth or my vagina, and I'm supposed to have like a baby and get pregnant, and there's so many more steps in this whole thing, and then you start Googling, and anyway, so I get to a point where nothing that my husband says to me is as loud as the deafening voices in my head that say I'm not enough, and that I can't do this thing, and that he is gonna leave me. So then I do this really hard thing a few years later. I do this thing where my close friend dies of an amniotic embolism. And I'm not going to get into that because it's way too heavy for tonight, but I will tell you that it was during an ice storm when she was laboring. And it was on a 21, which is my favorite number. And it left me very much alone, holding a baby that was hours old, a little girl, while a team of doctors was trying to save her mommy's life an hour away, unsuccessfully. And so then things got really rough, right? Because everything changes in a moment like that. And all of the things that you did that were supposed to make you super successful don't really matter anymore, right? Like, I can't degree my way out of this situation. I can't buy my way out of this situation. This thing is going down. And so now the voices get really loud. They get super loud. And they start saying things like, "You could die too. Would your children know who you are? Would they read about you in the newspaper, the last award that you won? Would they know you sold a lot of houses?" So this is the point where I realized that the most important commodity that we trade in is not money, it's time, right? And I can make more money, but I can't make any more time. And so I would love to tell you that I got it then, and that all of a sudden I, recommitted, but I didn't. I went back to work, because at work I was in complete and total control. And at work the voices stopped, and at work I could do OPP, and I could solve other people's problems. And I wasn't the sum of all my failures and all of my faults. And even our accountant said, "Are you okay?" when I almost doubled my numbers from the year before. So I don't want to leave that in a terrible space, because there was a really great thing that happened out of it. I built a house next to that little girl. Her name is Kate, and sometimes we do things together. We make guacamole. The other day, we were making guacamole, and she looked at me and she said, "Did my mommy Liz like avocados? Are you all aware that an avocado can make you cry?" It can, because I didn't know. I didn't know whether Elizabeth liked avocados. And so I thought to myself, these questions are going to get a lot bigger, and things are going to be a lot harder as I move forward inside of this space. And I want to know the answers to those questions, but there's no way to know at this point, right? And so then I started thinking about, Elizabeth was a dentist, but she was more than a dentist. And what was the still small space inside of her heart that God put her on this earth to do, and her point and her purpose and her light and all of those things? And then I thought about the book that I could write, or the things that I could do in order to impart the sort of journey that our families went on into the space of knowing that everything is okay with those kids, right? And that we're carrying on. Winter came, but we're carrying on. And so I recognized that I thought that it was time to try to do some of those things, and then the voices came back, and then I shut down and I went back to work. The last one is about vomit, and so vomit's always a fun thing to discuss. When I had my son Jack, yes, there's a son, and his name's Jack. There's another son too. But we stood inside of this space where I really wanted to do all of the things, and I wanted to make sure that everything was perfect, and so I decided that I was going to breastfeed, which was super bright, right? So like the first week of me trying to breastfeed and run a real estate brokerage and do all of these other things, I handed a nursing pad to a client, a male client, thinking it was a napkin, out of my pocket. And then I was trying to figure out how to like hook up the pump, but I wasn't very good at like hooking up the pump, and was trying to do it super fast because I was going into another meeting, and I flashed, like straight up flashed the lawn guy and like the mower thing that goes sideways. Right, so that same day, I race home as fast as I can. I'm in a suit. I have to pick up third in command of one of the largest companies in the nation. And I'm in a suit. I want to do a really good job with this. I have to grab him from a private plane at an airport, and I feed my son quickly, and I pick him up and I burp him, and he vomits in my hair. There's no time to be able to solve this situation quickly. Like it's just over. And so I very quickly grab the baby wipes and do one of these. And then remember when Febreze was super trendy? I grab the Febreze from underneath the counter, and I'm like, shh. And then I wrap it in a bun, and I jump in the car, and I like hold on to my steering wheel, and I'm like, I have vomit in my hair right now, right? Like where do we even go from there? I'm going to work, and I have some vomit in my hair. So I make it through that whole appointment, do my very best, and then I realize that I have to get gas because I'm not going to make it home. And you live on like 3-hour increments when you're breastfeeding, right? Because either your boobs are going to explode or your baby's going to like rip somebody's face off. And so I try to get gas as fast as I can, and as I'm walking in, this girl is like, "Oh my gosh, like you just taught a class to me, and you're so amazing, and I want to be just like you when I grow up, and you're so good at real estate." And I'm just postpartum enough that I say no words to her other than, "I'm sorry, I vomit in my hair." Right, there's no explanation inside of this space at all. I don't like say it's not from a day of day drinking or my baby threw up in my hair. I just look at this girl who's like 20 and say, I'm sorry, I vomit in my hair, and I walk by her. I still wonder, like, where is she and what does she think? Maybe she'll see this. So sorry, my bad. Yeah, so I recognize in that space that I'm sitting in my car again, and I'm thinking I am like a solid 35 internally, 35%. I'm a mess, right? Like, I'm handing out breast pads, like so many things are just not right inside of this space, and she wants to be me. She wants all my success, and she wants to be me. And again, I think, I can't see myself. I can't see what she sees. And I stay small. So, not long ago at all, I had another friend walk on, a beautiful girl. See, it's fresher. A beautiful girl that I met in a park on a sunny Sunday, total stranger. someone that I wish I would have had more time with. And as I was leaving her visitation, there were hundreds and hundreds of people. And we were walking into the parking lot with my husband, and I heard very, very clearly, "I wonder what else she had to say." And it made me think about all the things that I hide in my voice and avocados.